Hello, fourth graders. Today is our last lesson for this year, and we're going to be talking about photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. So, I want to make sure that you go to Brain Pop and you watch the video on photosynthesis, and I also want you to go to ReadWorks and make sure you read the article, Miss Johnson's Plant Experiment. So we learned all about our body, right? We learned about all of our systems. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. We learned about cells, the smallest building block of all living things. And we learned about plant and animal cells. And we discovered that there was something important that was different between animal and plant cells. So there's two main differences. So first of all, a plant cell has a cell wall. And it has a cell wall so it can stay stiff and upright, because plants don't have skeletons. But it had something else that was really, really important. Inside a plant cell is a little structure called a chloroplast. And the chloroplast is the key thing here. It is actually like a little factory that makes food for the plant. And the process of making food for the plant is called photosynthesis. So we're going to get into what is photosynthesis and how important it is right now. So right now, a lot of us are doing a lot of cooking at home. Many restaurants are closed, and so we're having to do a lot of cooking at home. I love to cook, so I don't have a problem with that. But when we want to make a cake, or we want to make homemade cookies, or we want to make a special meatball sauce, we usually follow a recipe. And in the recipe, it tells us all the ingredients that we need and the steps that we follow. Well, guess what? Photosynthesis also has a recipe. So there's only 3 ingredients in the photosynthesis recipe. And ingredient number 1 is water. And water has a chemical formula of H2O. H2O, you guys have heard of it, that's water. 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Then the next part of the recipe is carbon dioxide. CO2. Carbon, C is carbon, O is oxygen, 2 molecules of oxygen. 1 carbon, 2 oxygens, carbon dioxide. And the third ingredient is sunshine, and that is really energy in the form of light and heat. Now, we started this school year talking about energy, and we said energy makes things happen, right? And that's really important to remember right now when we talk about photosynthesis. We can have water and we can have carbon dioxide, but unless we have energy from the sun in the form of light, we cannot make sugar. Energy makes things happen. The energy from the sun breaks apart hydrogen and oxygen to make, instead of having H2O, it makes HO. It separates that into 3 separate atoms. And it separates carbon dioxide into COO. So now, instead of having a molecule, these elements are now just floating around. They're separate, and now they can be combined to make food, to make sugar. And the ingredients, or the chemical formula for sugar, is C6H12O6. So let's see if we have the ingredients available to make 1 molecule of sugar. Do we have carbon? Yes, it's part of carbon dioxide. Do we have hydrogen? Yes, it's part of water. Do we have oxygen? Yes, it's part of water and part of carbon dioxide. This is one molecule of sugar. And we can make sugar, well, we can't, but plants can make sugar through the process of photosynthesis if they have the right ingredients. They need water, they need carbon dioxide, and they need the energy from the sun to actually break apart the molecules, recombine them in a big mixing bowl called the chloroplast, and make a sugar molecule, C6H12O6. All right, so I'm in the garden again, and now when I'm in the garden, I want us to really think about that miracle of photosynthesis. So remember, a plant has certain ingredients that it needs for photosynthesis to happen. It needs water. Okay, so we have the roots that absorb the water from the soil. The water then goes up the stem, up through the xylem, and carries the water to every part of the plant. And we learned last week that underneath every leaf, there are these tiny little holes called stomata. And the stomata breathe in the carbon dioxide gas and breathe out oxygen. And so the plant needs those two ingredients, water and carbon dioxide gas. And then the energy from the sun splits apart those molecules, the water molecule, the carbon dioxide gas molecule, and inside the chloroplast, inside the leaf of these plants, the chloroplasts are splitting apart those molecules and then recombining them and making a sugar molecule. Carbon 6, hydrogen 12, oxygen 6. And that is one sugar molecule. So I hope that you look at plants a little differently now, right? They are little factories. They are capturing energy from the sun and transforming it and storing it as chemical energy. We started the year off with talking about energy makes things happen, and talking about storing energy and transforming energy. So plants are transforming, changing, converting energy, light energy from the sun. They're changing it into stored chemical energy in the forms of sugar. And the energy from the sun is what makes all of that happen. I love plants. Okay, fourth graders, this is our last lesson of the year. I had a great time with you this year. I'm sorry it ended on this virtual learning system, but I believe in you guys. You have amazing brains. You are great thinkers. I know I see great things in your future. Keep reading books, keep doing some math, keep learning about science, and I'll see you in 5th grade.